Welcome, everyone, to another Weather Trends 360 Ag Update as we take a look at the wide world of weather and how it impacts our good farmer friends around the globe. I'm Ron Hyde, and we're joined by Pam Rametta, our senior ag meteorologist, and the good captain, Captain Bill Kirk, Weather Trends CEO and meteorologist extraordinaire. And we're here today to talk about what happened in April around the crop-growing regions of the world. We'll also have an update on the major pattern shift likely to take shape in the next couple of weeks or so, a look at the entire Corn Belt season and our accuracy to date, and an update on. If you haven't heard already, well, you've heard it from us a long, long time ago. Here comes La Nina. So, Pam, we'll begin with you. What did you discuss in your weekly commodity report this past Monday?
This week we discussed the heavy rains that fell across the central U.S. from Texas up through Nebraska, even into South Dakota, and also the drenching rains that have inundated Argentina's soybean region for much of April. About one-third of Argentina's soy farms remain soaked from the rains that fell earlier this month, and the Argentina soy region is fairly flat, so there's no real opportunity for the water to run off anywhere. It just kind of sits in the field. Early estimates already have the total production for Argentina soybeans down about 4 million tons, and that number could grow as farmers get out into their fields and realize the full extent of the damage. Brazil, meanwhile, finally got a break from the heat this week and even saw some rain showers. But don't expect this to fix the damage to the corn crop that occurred earlier this month. Brazil is entering its dry season, and its forecast to start May is on a hot and dry note.
Well, Bill, you're up to bat next. What happened in April around the globe? It seems to me, certainly, like we had an awful lot of issues in the ag arena.
Yeah, as Pam pointed out, and so you can see on the slide here, Argentina ended up for April the coldest in 17 years, number one wettest in 25 years, and that, again, that arc of soybeans around Buenos Aires to the west, to the north of that region. So, again, soaking rains down there. Some areas, wettest in 121 years. So look at Brazil overall, was the hottest in 25 years, third driest. Again, hottest and driest in 9 years at least, out in the Mato Grosso do Sul, and those regions of the major corn-producing areas. U.S. Corn Belt, as you can see here, was a little mixed bag east versus west, but cooler than last year, a little bit above average, second driest in 11 years if we take the Corn Belt from Iowa to Pennsylvania as a whole. Rainfall in that region 13% below average. Again, Pam talked about that wet. We'll show that here in a minute in the plains. Not a lot of issues in the Ukraine, wettest in 4, warmest in 4. Western Europe, pretty big issues there, actually. Coldest in 8 years, second wettest in 25. So anything in Germany, France, Spain, those areas definitely, European crops would definitely had a not so good planting season. Northeast China, again, mixed bag in April. We had the hottest and, well, depends on where you were. The Northeast China overall was actually the coolest in 3, wettest in 10 years. But down toward Shandong, south of Beijing, that area was actually the hottest in 25, driest in several years. Again, Northeast China, a little cooler, a little wetter. We dive down into the United States a little closer up here. Again, you can see that the Eastern Corn Belt a little cooler than average, and then the Western Corn Belt in Iowa a little warmer than average. The map in the bottom inset shows the trends versus a year ago. So, again, the big issue was here in the east where we had freeze after freeze, 19-degree type freezes. So it wiped out a lot of our fruit trees in the Great Lakes Northeast down into even as far as Maryland, Virginia, even down toward Charlotte. They had some, upper 20s that did some damage to peach crops. So the freezes kind of happened here in April, fruit tree strawberries. Northeast coldest and snowiest in 9 years. So again, Northwest was the hot spot, hottest in 25. If we look at precip, again, we can see all that rain down in Argentina, and then the conveyor belt of moisture from Texas to North Dakota. Again, that Texas to North Dakota was the wettest in 25-plus years. Obviously, some areas the wettest on record. If we look at, again, Northeast China is a little bit of where their crops are grown, a little bit of a mixed bag. But, again, overall, it was coolest in 3, wettest in 10. If we go up to those Heilongjiang and the Jilin and Shandong south was the only dry area. We zoom in, again, the precip, this showing the precip totals is on a 2 to 30-inch scale. You can see those 16-inch bullseyes down in Argentina. 16 inches of rain during harvest season, not good. You can see a 16-inch bullseye around Houston. If we look at Nebraska, 8 inches of rain or more. Kansas, northwest Kansas, 8 inches. Parts of Louisiana, northwest Louisiana, 10 inches of rain. Obviously, Houston, 16 inches plus. There's certainly some replanting going on down in those southern parts of the plain states. So certainly a little bit of a negative. We drill in again to the U.S. here. You can see a little more clearly that, Des Moines and points, through that southeast Minnesota, Wisconsin, northern Illinois, pretty dry. And then a nice dry swat from Little Rock to to the mid-Atlantic up the East Coast. This is kind of the inkling of what we think is going to happen here. We think there's going to be a big high pressure as La Nina develops. It's going to park somewhere over Illinois, Indiana. And this wet pattern that you see in Texas to the Dakotas, that probably shifts as La Nina really develops. That'll shift more toward Arizona, New Mexico, into the Rockies, and then that dryness will expand pretty much plains, Corn Belt wide into the mid-Atlantic Northeast. So these peaches and yellows that we kind of dry here in April will definitely expand as we go through the season here.
Hey, Bill, we have thousands upon thousands of farmers watching this broadcast, and what do you foresee as the next big hurdle or hurdles for our U.S. farmers?
Well, you can see on the slide, this is kind of showing both our accuracy of our year-ahead temp forecast. So this one's showing a Corn Belt aggregate, so it's a pretty big geography from, let's say, Iowa to Pennsylvania. But as we can see here, so we've got the cold snap in April and now the warming trend. The big concern that we see on this chart is actually that mid-June to August time frame. Certainly the mid-June to mid-July pollination phase looks to be the second hottest in 25 or more years. Some areas the second hottest in history, 121 years. So we're looking at 90 to 100 degree temperatures along with the dryness. Exactly what happened in Brazil with their pollination phase the last few weeks of extremely hot and dry. That's kind of what we're going to go through. So corn just doesn't pollinate well in those 90 to 100 degree temperatures. So that's the first big concern. Then you can see the epic cold with La Nina into the fall, especially the core winter months. So much colder. Fall, winter, which will create some issues. But again, a perfect forecast on this thing with the dotted line would be on the tip of every bar. So we captured the big warm up in February and March, the little cool snap in April, and now getting into signs of a change. One other thing real quick just to be concerned about is this Friday morning here, probably after the fact, after this recording, but northern Iowa, Nebraska, northwest Kansas, northern Ohio. Pam, why did you say planting is off the charts right now? What's the percentage planted in the U.S.?
Corn's about 30% planted, which is
30%.
About twice the pace of normal.
Yeah. So again, the problem here is we don't know exactly where everyone's planted here, but we got a frost line going from northern Iowa, Nebraska, northwest Kansas, northern Ohio. Frost for soybeans, 32 degrees can do in a soybean seed. Corn might be okay, but this is not the last one though either. As we hinted in the long-range forecast, and it's now showing up on the short-range forecast, is the 4 through 6 May time frame. There could be a blast that comes down from Wisconsin to northern Illinois, across northern Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania. So that's the next frost freeze potential in that May 4th through 6th time frame. So we need to watch for that. Again, something to be concerned about. The last slide here just shows, again, the precip trend. And we think, again, we'll talk about La Nina in a minute here, but the pattern is just about to change. If you look at some of the short-range guidance, it looks like we are very close to ending this, conveyor belt of moisture in the Central Plains and going into this dry cycle. We thought it would happen the second week in May. Short-range models are kind of starting to hint at that. So what we see here is just week after week after week of much drier weather than last year, driest in 4 years, below average. For much of the Corn Belt, and that's continuing really through September. So this looks worse than 2012 in our estimation. 2012, the drought wasn't super widespread. This one could be widespread from, say, Iowa to Pennsylvania. So pretty much entire Corn Belt wide here in 2016. So that's why we're very bullish on the corn price.
Well, Bill, we here at wt360 been beating the La Nina drum for 8, 9, 10 months now to those who would listen. Can you give us the latest on La Nina development?
Well, you can see that with our website. So again, any farmer can go to our interactive maps page, look at the ocean temps. This is showing ocean temps versus a year ago. And so what we're seeing is that La Nina signature of those dark blues. If we had just looked here at this back in December, we'd have seen all dark reds with the major El Nino. So you can see the blue waters where it's getting colder, much colder than last year. You can look at this as versus average. What happens with all this cold water is that you don't need it officially to be declared La Nina to have the weather conditions start to materialize. So what this is suggesting is we're going to have a high-pressure subsidence, generally speaking, over the Americas, North, South America, especially North America, United States. And then you have all this moisture, green and warm waters out here off of Australia and Indonesia expanding. That's where the low pressure will be, and you get into rising moisture and a lot of rain. So El Ninos are just simply the opposite. When El Ninos are warm, then we have really wet conditions, generally speaking, in the United States. And when you get La Nina, we generally have dry conditions in the United States. So you can already see that performing here. And then if you look below the surface on the next slide, you can actually see just how rapidly this El Nino's collapsed and all these 4 to 6 Celsius below average. A minus 1.5 Celsius water temperature below average is considered a very strong La Nina, and we're looking at 4 to 6 Celsius below average, right below the Pacific Ocean. So this has all the inklings of a major La Nina, and even if you look at the government computer models that are just updated as of the 28th here, All of them pretty much take us into a neutral phase by May, right about now. June, we'll go into a weak La Nina. July, a moderate. August, September, we're probably in a strong phase. And by December, we could be talking very strong. And if some of the models are right, we're looking at one of the strongest La Ninas on record, 120 years. So, again, very concerned here. These are 2-3 year cycles, drought cycles. So, again, something to be concerned about.
And, of course, forewarned is forearmed. And as a reminder, this email that you're looking at now was sent to paying farmer clients of wt360 that get our year-ahead forecasting services. But we know the middle April Ag Update video we did for our farmer friends was shared over 50,000 times. So for those of you watching and not yet customers, please do yourself a favor and check out our plans page. And for those farmers who are already clients and certainly interested in additional services perhaps and more reports, don't hesitate to give Pam a call. She'll be happy to help and answer any and all questions. And Bill, I also hear we have a new top secret product coming out for paying farmers. Why don't you tell us about it?
As we said in the Air Force, I could tell you, but then I got to kill you. But I will tell you, and then I won't kill you.
Please, Bill, come on now. We know a field trip occurred last Friday, and everybody on hand had a wonderful time. Why don't you share some of those stories and tales with us?
Well, first, the top secret. Again, I'll give you a sneak peek. Any farmer client that signed up, we have this new cool product that come out every single day, and it's free of charge to the customers. So you're just going to see something pop up in your email, and we think you're going to love it. So it'll be a new daily report for our farm clients. So we'll make a big announcement there, but look for that in the next week or two. Farmer Danny here has been a client for 5 years. We really just started about 5 years ago in this farm ag space. Really started 14 years ago in the big retail space with the Wall Street and retailers. But love Farmer Danny, and he's an early adopter. Next slide here shows me and Rich out there digging. I told Rich to keep digging, and he says, "How far you want me to dig?" I said, "You hit China, you've gone too far." So we put it in this cool weather station. Farmer Danny's the first one, well, not the first, but one of the few here in Pennsylvania that has a center pivot irrigation system, and he's going to try to set the record this year, and he's picked a good year to have irrigation, obviously with the pending drought. So we as a team went out there. It was a good excuse to leave early on a Friday, and we put these cool soil moisture, soil temperature, all kinds of weather sensors in for Farmer Danny. And so we're going to make him hopefully get the state record. So it was a fun Friday, and love helping the farmers.
Yeah, and on that last slide, we see the word success, and we certainly want to help in all our farmer friends and clients in achieving success across the board, and a lot of smiling faces, and a wonderful day it was for us at WT360. And we certainly love Farmer Danny, as you both will attest. He's a great guy. That'll do it for this edition of the WT360 Ag Update. I want to thank Pam and, of course, Bill for their valuable expertise, and we certainly look forward to another informative Ag Update in the very near future that will help you be proactive, not reactive, to the volatility of weather.